Yo, what's up guys? It's Blader's Requiem here with another awesome video, and today it's going to be a tutorial on the world of Beyblade. Alright, so, yeah, let's get into the video. Subscribe if you're new, and, yeah, let's do it. Alright guys, so there are basically four main types of Beyblades. Well, there really are only four, but you know. We got Stamina, which is for outlasting your opponents. Defense, which is for, you know, defending from hits. Then you just have Attack. And I'm pretty sure we all know what that's for. Anyways, we got the wonderful Balance type as well, which is basically the middle of the pyramid. And it's basically all three types combined into one. Where basically you just have a lot of modes. So, basically how it works is the pyramid kind of goes in a, well, it's not really a pyramid, it's more of a circle, but Balance, obviously, it doesn't really have any weaknesses because it's very adaptable. And then you got Stamina, which can be beat by Attack, because for Stamina, they kind of sacrifice better a locking system for, well, more spinning time. And then you have Defense, which is beaten by Stamina, because, you know, outlasting. It's kind of the reason Stamina exists. And then you have Attack, which can be beat by Defense, because, well, you know, I'm pretty sure it's a little obvious. But anyways, now time to get into the world of points. Let's go. Alright guys, so we have these two wonderful Beyblades here to showcase what points are possible, and basically what can happen during a Beyblade battle. Alright, so first up, there is a burst finish, which would be 2 points, and, well, you know, yeah. So, Beyblade burst, it's basically the whole thing. If your Bey gets hit hard enough, it kind of explodes, just like that. And then you have the two other point scoring thingies, whatever you want to call them. So you have a survivor finish. So let's say this Beyblade stops spinning, and that one is still spinning. That would be a survivor finish, and well, you know, that would be 1 point. Then you have a ring out finish. So let's say this Beyblade knocked out this one and it knocked it into the pocket. That's called a ring out finish, and that's also worth 1 point. And the other stuff that can happen during a Beyblade battle is sometimes you accidentally land on your opponent and go straight into that. I said go. And basically go straight into the pocket. That is usually what we call snipe, and, yeah, we don't work with those. Alright, so then you also have, kind of basically unspoken rule. Once the Beyblades collide is when the battle really starts. And, because, like, you know, if they just kind of go around and no one hits each other, it kind of gets boring. So, yeah, that's basically kind of what happens. Now let's move on to the wonderful world of the generations. Alright guys, so, I don't really have every generation of Beyblade, so, we're gonna start off with Metal Fight, because I don't have Plastic Gen, so, yeah. So, basically Metal Fight is basically head bolt, plastic piece that goes on top of metal piece, and 2 parts usually on the bottom, which are plastic, and basically, they don't burst, because, you know, it's not Beyblade Burst, and, yeah, that's about it. And this right here is, Poison Serpent, so, yeah. But we're not dealing with Metal Fight today, we're mostly dealing with the generations of Burst. So, first up is the original generation of Burst, because I don't have the prototype generation. And basically, no gimmicks. It's boring. Just a disc, a driver, and a layer. So get that out of here. And then we have the Evolution / God season, where basically things got really interesting. Every Beyblade gets a gimmick. Super fun battles and all that stuff. Alright, yeah. So this is Nightmare Longinus, representing the God generation. Basically, its gimmick on the layer is that once it gets to 2 clicks, the dragon heads kind of get to this point where it aligns with the bottom of the layer, and really strong attack. So then you have Destroy, and Destroy's gimmick is a little like star-shaped pattern on the bottom with a little ring to help it be a little bit more aggressive. And yeah, so this is the generation where like frames started coming into existence. And so this is an example of a frame. Basically, it goes on the disc, but obviously Nightmare Longinus has no disc. The disc, well, it technically does have a disc. It's just integrated with the layer. Kind of like a future generation that I'm not going to name yet. But it does still have a place for a frame, which is actually right here, and it does actually fit. So let me take that back off so that I can showcase that later. And yeah, that's about it for the God generation. Let's move on to Turbo. Alright guys, so the Turbo generation, I'm purposefully skipping the Cho-Z evolutions, just the actual, well, the Cho-Z bays, which are the ones that have the burst stoppers, because I'm not really explaining everything in the video, I'm just explaining most of the stuff. So this is Geist Fafnir. It is a stamina type. And basically, the whole gimmick with Cho-Z, well, Turbo / Cho-Z bays, is that you see this little diamond on the layer? Basically, you put a chip in it, and it makes the Beyblade stronger in burst resistance, so that it does not burst as often. But funny story, tried to 3D print one, it didn't go well, 3D printer screwed it up, and yeah. I do not have a level chip. And basically, instead of every Beyblade having a gimmick, but I mean, they technically did. But now every Beyblade also has metal on the layer. And yeah, that was basically the gimmick of the season, plus the level chip stuff. And yeah, that's about it from Cho-Z and Turbo. Next is the wonderful season of GT. Oh wait, no, wrong way. GT. So basically, there are 2 GT bays that I have to showcase. So yes, they do all have a gimmick. Yeah, they do. Anyways, you have the 3 main parts: layer, driver, and disc. This is Achilles, by the way. He's originally from the Turbo generation, or Cho-Z generation, whatever you want to call it. But the thing is, the layer itself is actually 3 parts. You have the chip. Stay over there, please. You have the layer weight, and then you have the actual layer, or well, layer base is what they call it. So everything is interchangeable on the layers. Just don't try to put right with left and left with right unless you have Spriggan, because it's the only bay in GT that can do that. it can, transfer. So basically you put everything together, then you push in these white tabs, and then you put the disc and driver on, and voila, you have a GT Bay. And next is another GT Bay. So basically this is where like end of the season special gimmicks started coming into the world. Basically, now there are these things called infinite lock bays, and as you can see, it will not burst. But the thing is, it actually can burst. It just spins infinitely. So it starts out like a regular Beyblade. So if you have it in this position right here, to where it's normal, and as you can see, once I start turning it, the middle part turns red. And once it gets to the opposite side is when it can actually burst. But the thing is, you need to push in. If it has tabs, well, every infinite lock bay has tabs. You only need to push in, I believe, so in Genesis, it has 2 tabs. Apocalypse has 1. But I grabbed Genesis first, so yeah. So you push in 1, and basically that's how it bursts. But the thing is, you have to be so specific with how you hit it to get it just to the red, hit the thing, and make it burst, that it is kind of complicated. And you know what, guys? You know what makes it even more complicated? The Big Bang armor. It came on Big Bang Genesis. And basically, it prevents infinite lock bays from bursting. So all that you do is you kind of push it on, you slide it to where it's like this, and as you can see, so I'm going to try and get it to, so I got it to red, right? And oh, that's not supposed to happen. And I push the tabs, but yet it doesn't burst. That first one was just an error, so don't mind that. Next, we have the wonderful world of sparking, or I don't know what Hasbro called it, but you know what? It's fine. And basically, the whole gimmick is, well, this is Spriggan, but it's unlike the other ones. So it actually has metal built into the core, or the chip. So it doesn't actually require a chip core, which a chip core is this tiny little piece on screen, and basically it goes where the metal piece would be and completes the chip. Then basically what you do is you kind of just put it on, and you put the chip with the chip core on, and then you just, twist it. And then moving on to the second major gimmick, you have double chassis and single chassis. Basically, single chassis, what they do is that you're able to put on a regular disc. So here, let me just do this real quick. So as you can see, now there is a normal disc on a sparking bay, and basically the whole thing is yeah, that's basically it. Then you got yourself double chassis, which is, for my example, the stock chassis that came on Spriggan, which is 2B. Basically the disc is actually integrated, and so are the teeth. Well, the teeth are actually integrated on both. But the disc is integrated, and it does not need a disc. And yeah, that's basically the main gimmicks with sparking. So let's move on to the wonderful world of well, the technically current generation, but not current generation, because there's a generation after that that's already been released. We have DB, which, well, this is a prime example of a wonderful and amazing DB Bay. This is Guilty Longinus. So, if you guys remember earlier in the video, I showcased Nightmare Longinus. It had the Destroy driver on it. Basically, this is like a version with a metal cap. This is when like metal caps started to be introduced. Because but metal caps, they kind of they suck. They're bad. I hate them. But Guilty Longinus right here is the only one that can actually deal with metal caps, I think. I think it's the only one. Well, Bahamut can as well, and so can Kerbeus, but yeah. So basically, guys, this, as you can see, this is not a normal disc. So let me get a normal disc real quick. I'm just going to get the one from Fafnir. So, this is a normal disc. As you can see, this is a place for a frame. And, you know, it's round and stuff. But this does not have a place for a frame, and, it's a little bit taller, basically. So, the reason for that being is actually because there are two modes to this layer. But again, the layer is divided into three. You have the, core, you have the armor, and you have the... Is it called the blade or the ring? I don't remember. And then basically you put them all together, and you push in the white tabs. It's kind of the same like with GT, but the tabs are actually on the core, not the blade or ring or whatever. And, yeah, Guilty, obviously the same thing is with the whole Longinus line is attack types. And yeah, the gimmick is basically just what we call low and high mode. So basically, if I can put this together, so this is what we call low mode. So as you can see, there's no gap in the Beyblade, and it's basically made for a lower center of gravity so that it has a bit more stamina. But then if you take it apart, push the tabs back out, you take the core off, basically, and take the armor, put it on top, take the core, put it on the bottom. And the thing is, guys, is that now the teeth are closer to the bottom. So now the locking mechanism is actually under the Beyblade, which, again, as I said earlier, the disc has a gap now, because it's, you know, taller. So now, a higher center of gravity, and it's basically made for moving around the stadium a lot better. And, yeah, that's about it for DB. And, basically, our current generation we're in is called BU, which is Burst Ultimate. And basically, it follows the same thing with DB, with the whole system and everything. But if we flip the core over, you probably can't see it, but there's a little bump here and a little bump here that basically... Here, if I can get the disc. It basically stops, or it's basically a built-in burst stopper. And then you can see it actually corresponds with these two bumps on the disc. And then actually, guys, if you peek it under the disc, it has these two little engravements that basically will make the driver tighter so that it bursts less often. And that's basically everything with BU, kind of. Only select Beyblades have the gimmick with the burst stoppers actually on the core. That, I believe, is Belly L2 and Excalibur at the moment. And yeah, that's about it. Let's get into launchers. Alright guys, so basically to go over, this is a standard string launcher. It, you know, has a string, so you pull it out, and it launches the Beyblade, because I think centrifugal force or something. But yeah, you pull on the string, it goes, and that's basically standard launcher concept. Then you have what we call a launcher grip, basically to make the grip stronger launches, and yeah, you can. There's actually 3 positions you can have the launcher grip on. You have the left side, you have the middle like this, or the middle like that, but it's the same grip area. And then you have the right side. And that's about it for the positions, but this, and then next launcher is a standard ripcord launcher. It only has 2 spaces to dock the launcher grip, because the whole point is you're supposed to get a lot of power out of this one. And yeah, so next up, with Metal Fight, this is what the launchers look like. It's basically just ripcord launchers. And okay, yeah, so next would be the proto launcher. This is a left spin proto launcher. They suck. They're too small. I hate them. They're probably the worst launchers out there. Ow. And yeah. So then, I mentioned that this was a standard launcher, obviously, because then you have the ripcord launcher. You have a Metal Fight ripcord launcher. You have the proto launcher. And then, next would be a left and right launcher. So this specific one is the Master Diabolos launcher. Basically, how you change it, it's one of your standard LR launchers, so push the white tab out. Right is where the grip thing is forward. Left is where it's in the back. And whatever mode you want it in, so you change that. Then you put the white tab in. Also, it has a tool right here to change modes on Beyblades. For example, like Spriggan, you kind of need a tool for that. And it only has 2, but it has one on the left and one in the front. So, yeah, it's a pretty good launcher overall, but here's where it gets interesting. The launchers get a little bit more complicated. Except for, okay, so these are the Sparkin launchers. Basically, the entire gimmick is, you know what, the gimmick is they break easily. That's the gimmick. But, no, just kidding. But they do break easily. The whole gimmick is, I don't know if you saw that, but it makes sparks, because there are flint sticks here and here, and no idea what this is, but I don't care. So basically, when you do a powerful launch, it sparks. And then today's launchers, you have the standard DB launcher, but this is the Valkyrie launcher, which actually has a power gear attached to it, which makes you get more rotations on the bottom piece here. I don't really need to explain all the pieces of a launcher, so yeah. So with, these are probably the most complicated launchers, because what you have to do to change modes is that you push the tabs out, you drop the bottom piece, you take the top piece, then you flip it, you put it on the other side, and sometimes it gets difficult to align. So it has to be aligned perfectly for you to be able to actually fix it into another mode. And then you put the white tabs in, and you have swapped modes, and that's about it. So going back to standard launchers, there are actually these things called launcher accessories. This is called the trigger accessory. Basically what you do is they all have these tabs, because, you know, they gotta lock in somehow. So basically what you do is you pull open the tab, you just kind of slide it on, you push the tab in, and now it's locked in place. And you kind of have a little bit of extra grip. Because, you know, if you want a really powerful launch, you're going to need a pretty powerful grip. And that's about it as far as I know. The Beyblade tutorial is over. Subscribe, check out my Discord, and I'll see you guys again soon. Might do a Destiny 2 stream later. Blader's Requiem, out.